Good morning, everyone, and thank you for your patience. My name is Lucia Garcia. I'm the Assistant Dean of Student Affairs for the Parkinson School of Health Sciences and Public Health. And it's truly an honor to welcome you here today for the 7th Annual Community Advocacy and Violence Prevention Summit. Power in Partnership, Community Action Against Gun Violence. Today, we gather during National Public Health Week, whose theme, Ready, Set, Action, reminds us that meaningful change begins within our communities through collective responsibility, shared voice, and a commitment to act. This year, our gathering feels especially urgent. We come together in the wake of a profound loss, most recently the tragic death of our student Sheridan Gorman to gun violence. We also recognize the continued impact of state-sanctioned violence and policies that have harmed and destabilized communities across Chicagoland and our nation. These realities are not abstract. They shape the lived experiences of our students, our families, and our neighbors. They remind us that this work is not optional, it is necessary. As educators, public health professionals, and community members, we hold a responsibility, an opportunity to create spaces like this where we can come together, learn from one another, and move toward action. Spaces where we center community voices, challenge systems that perpetuate harm, and work collectively towards safety, healing, and justice. For 7 years, the Loyola Stands community has remained committed to this mission, bringing together students, faculty, staff, and community leaders across Loyola's campuses and beyond, both in person and virtually. Your presence here matters. This year's focus on partnership and collaboration is intentional. We know that no one discipline, organization, or individual can address gun violence alone. It requires a unified effort across professions, across communities, and across systems. It also requires us to acknowledge the broader context shaping our communities. Over the past year, we've seen increased fear and uncertainty among many, particularly due to immigration policies that have disrupted families and communities. In this moment, it is even more critical that we come together, not only to educate and advocate, but to build connection, foster hope, and affirm our shared humanity. This work is deeply personal to me as someone born and raised in Chicago, and as a public health educator and public health professional and higher education professional. I carry both a professional and a personal commitment to this cause. I'm continually grateful to work alongside colleagues and committed partners who share in this mission. I'm especially proud of the Loyola Stands Fellowship, through which we have had the privilege of working with 15 student fellows over the years, students who are leading, learning, and in many cases continuing this work beyond their time at Loyola. They represent the future of this movement and a continued source of hope. The Loyola Stands Against Gun Violence initiative, established nearly a decade ago through collaboration between Loyola's hospital and university, stands as a testament to the power of interprofessional partnerships and a shared purpose. This work has always been and must continue to be collective. To all of you here today, leaders, advocates, students, families, and community members, thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for your commitment. And thank you for being part of this community working toward change. We're especially honored to welcome Mayor Nathaniel Booker, whose presence underscores the importance of partnership between community leaders and policymakers in advancing meaningful solutions. At this critical moment, may we continue to come together, strengthen our collective voice, and remain steadfast in our commitment to a fundamental human right that every person deserves: safety, dignity, and a future free from violence. Welcome and thank you for being here. To ground us in the importance of today's event, and offer a warm welcome, it's my privilege to introduce Maywood Mayor Nathaniel Booker.
Good morning, everybody. It is crazy to think that it's been 7 years. I've been here since the beginning. We started this journey talking about gun violence back in 2019. I just became a trustee in 2019 and involved in different things, working throughout the community, joined Loyola, and took a trip to Los Angeles. When we took a trip to Los Angeles, it was to Homeboy Industries. At Homeboy Industries in LA, we learned about an ecosystem of helping people because it's not just the violence, it's everything that contributes to the violence and everything that causes the violence. So they taught us and walked us through how they're focusing on economic equity. They focused on youth engagement. They focused on workforce development and treating the whole person, not just treating a symptom or an issue. Fast forward today, I became mayor in 2021 because we went to LA with Lucia, with Dr. Luke, with Dr. Hatchett. There was no way in my brain I was going to become the mayor of the neighborhood. At that point, where did you go to? Okay. At that point, in nowhere in my brain, like I was traveling for work still. I was in the air about 60% of the time, back in Bay with 40% of the time. God led my purpose to be different, to become the village of mayor's neighborhood for 5 years now. And fast forward to today. In 2019, the village of Maywood had 16 homicides. Every year, we were ranking between 15 to 25 homicides. Last year, we had one. When we talk about engaging in community engagement standpoint, there was a facility that was an old boys and girls club that was owned, but for some reason there was no activity going on. So we are now in our third year of that facility being reopened, where we see over 100 kids a day in after school programming that have activities focused on career life readiness, sports enrichment, and economic enrichment to pour into our youth. So that facility has been open for 3 years. When we talk about things and the symptoms that lead to homicides, leads to negative activity and crime activity, we are just now opening and moving into this month our economic empowerment center that will help our residents focus on economic growth, homeownership, business education to become entrepreneurs. We also have right now under construction a food is medicine facility. We are the first 21 blocks of 62 miles of walkability on the Prairie Path. So we will have about 25 huge beds of food for community access. But we also will have a brand new facility that will have a commercial kitchen to showcase and highlight to our residents that food truly is medicine and meeting space inside. So that will be open in July. Right now under construction, we have our grocery store that has been closed since the early 2000s. So we will no longer have a food designation by the time we get to August of this year. We are consistently working on things from a health standpoint because when you look at the U.S. Health Department's Health and Human Services, elements of a healthy community, you have to make sure the entire ecosystem is performed. So we poured into our education system. Well, when I first became mayor, there were 3 of our elementary schools, our middle school, and our high school were all in the bottom 5% of the state when it came to test scores. Today, not one of those schools are in the bottom 5%. So I say all of this to say, with intentionality and people plus partnership equaling possibilities, and Loyola taking a brand new trustee 2 months after being sworn in to go see a homeboy industry is a part that has led to 7 years of us truly moving the village and making it forward together. Thank you all so much for coming to the village that is now life.
Thank you, Mayor Booker. I would now like to invite forward Ann Hillman, Director of Health Sciences Ministry, to lead us in a blessing.
Good morning and thank you. On behalf of our university's Mission Integration Division, I'm really grateful for this opportunity to be part of this important gathering and to offer us an invocation as we begin our day. I know that many people joining us are perhaps visiting campus or engaging virtually with Loyola University Chicago for the first time today. And so we're glad to warmly welcome you this morning. As our mission statement proclaims, we are a diverse community seeking God in all things. That value, seeking God in all things, or finding God in all things, is a core tenet of the spirituality of St. Ignatius Loyola, our namesake. And so it is our common practice to spend a moment of contemplation as we begin a gathering like this, to remember our values, to practice gratitude, to ground ourselves in the call to expand knowledge in the service of humanity, and to honor the sacred source of all life. As you feel called this morning, as we begin our day, let us pray. Good and gracious God, whom we call by many names, we ask for your abundant presence in our gathering today. Whether we are near or far, whether we are elders or novices in this movement, whether our hearts are feeling hopeful and ready, or tired and worn down, we ask for a spirit of renewal. We hold especially close all those whom we have lost to gun violence, our family members, our friends, our Loyola classmate Sheridan, our neighbors, our brothers and sisters, and coworkers and children. We hold each and every life in highest regard, this day and always, and we commit ourselves to the work that builds dignity, security, and safety for every human person. Divine wisdom, may we be attentive today to the stirrings in our hearts, our minds, our souls, listening for how we are being called to action, listening for how we, as individuals and a collective, can bring about a society of safety and peace. Source of all goodness and justice, may this collective renew in us whatever we most need to help us be change agents and passionate advocates. May gifts of hope, courage, connection, knowledge, perseverance, and endurance be ours this day. We pray for all of this and all that remains in each of our hearts, in the name of God, who is one. Amen.
Thank you so much, Anne, and welcome everybody. It's so nice to see you all here today. My name is Michelle Cavusi. I am co-chair of Loyola Stands Against Gun Violence, and I am a professor of public health law and policy here at Loyola University. It is so encouraging and exciting to see so many of you here today. We had 400 people register. You are here in the auditorium, and many of you are online. Welcome to all of you online. I'm not sure where the camera is. There truly is power in partnership. We have an inspiring lineup of speakers for you here today, beginning with our Chicago Cred keynote panel, featuring former U.S. Secretary of Education and current lead of Chicago Cred, Arnie Duncan, and Chicago Cred life coaches Dan Trell-Jelks and Lorenzo Taylor. They will be followed by Eddie Bocanegra, Loyola's own immigration hub, and then New Life Centers, and then finally our own Loyola Stand student fellows. I do want to note that each of our speakers has the freedom to say whatever they would like to say. Their views may or may not be in line with those of the university or Loyola Stands, but they have the freedom to speak as they wish. After each speaking session, we will have a Q&A. For those of you in the auditorium, once the speakers are done, you can step down to the microphones and ask your questions. If you are online, there's a Q&A on Zoom. Submit your questions there, and they will be read aloud here as time permits. So if you are online, go ahead and submit your questions online as the presentations unfold. I have a few other housekeeping items. You were handed a short program today when you walked in. At the bottom of that program or on the back is a QR code. If you're online, there's a link that will take you to our long program. In our long program, you will see the speaker photos, long bios, more about Loyola Stands. We have artwork in the lobby. Our artists are featured in the program as well. We have outside resources, links to outside resources if you'd like to get involved. There is also a detailed schedule of today's events in the program. I will say that we will have a quick break at 10:35. and we will wrap up at 12:30. Then there is a resource fair in the lobby with many local and statewide gun violence prevention organizations out there, and lunch for all of you, so stay for lunch. All right, without further ado, let me introduce our keynote panel. It is my honor to introduce our keynote speakers, Arne Duncan, Dantrell Jelks, and Lorenzo Taylor. Arne Duncan served as U.S. Secretary of Education from January 2009 through December 2015 as part of the Obama administration. Prior to joining the Obama administration, Duncan served as Chief Executive Officer of Chicago Public Schools. He won praise for uniting the city's stakeholders behind an education agenda that included opening 100 new schools, expanding after-school, summer learning, early childhood, and college access programs, and building public-private partnerships around a variety of education initiatives. Today, he is managing partner at Emerson Collective, an organization dedicated to removing barriers so people can live to their full potential. He also serves on numerous boards, more than I can list here. I'll just give you a few: Ariel Investments, Communities and Schools, Eat, Learn, Play, Education Advancement, Howard University, Metropolitan Family Services, My Brother's Keeper, and he chairs the Hunt Institute. Perhaps most importantly, he is the leader of Chicago Cred, a nonprofit working to achieve transformative reduction in gun violence in Chicago. Through partnerships with local business leaders, community organizers, and nonprofit groups, Duncan aims to provide outreach, therapeutic, education, and employment opportunities for the young men most likely to be engaged in gun violence. He is joined today by Dantrell Jelks, Lorenzo Taylor. These inspiring young men were former participants in Chicago Cred, and they are now life coaches. Welcome to the stage, Lorenzo.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks so much for having us. And appreciate the freedom to say what we want. Those players that want to it's always very honest. And we'll have a brief conversation. We want to open up to your questions and we'll not happen. Very, very quickly for context. And first, I just want to say I'm sorry, no Loyola community recently experienced a horrific death due to gun violence, and know it impacts all of you in pretty profound ways. So we just want to say I'm really, really sorry about your loss. Quick context: Chicago historically has been 5 to 6 times more violent than New York, 2 to 3 times more violent than LA. We were an absolute anomaly among big cities. We were the third largest city. We always had more homicides, more shootings than any other city. And I've always thought it doesn't have to be that way. It shouldn't be that way. It's never our kids' fault. We've been at this 10 years. It's so amazing how fast time flies. We started working with 25 guys out south in their neighborhood in one small room. We now have 7 sites across the city. We're serving almost 1,000 men and teens now on an annual basis. They go to our neighborhood sites for about a year. And we go to our employment training center collectively and learn hard and soft skills and spin folks up to the community economy. In terms of outcomes, we have a long way to go. This is not some mission accomplished moment, but I am pleased and proud to say Chicago had the safest year in 60 years last year. That's my entire lifetime, but with less than fewest number of shootings and homicides. We're the second fastest improving city in America, big cities, so we're always trying to figure out what value are we adding. We've had 4 consecutive years of violence going down, and that's the first time in 20 years we've had that cycles getting better. And then where I was looking at Cred, we work in 2 neighborhoods on the south side of Pullman, West Pullman, Rosen, where these guys live, in North Lawndale on the west side. From the pandemic, the neighborhood has seen the biggest reduction in homicides. Is West Pullman went from 37 homicides to 7, so reduction of 30. That's in part thanks to these guys' work and their team. And then North Lawndale on the west side is the 3rd fastest improvement in terms of reductions. So we feel what we should be. We never said we have the answer to chipping to violence going down. Over the past couple of years, we're trying to expand this work to other neighborhoods and really build the scale. Individual transformation always been the heart of our work. We're trying to move to neighborhood violence suppression. So the civic committee's been, philanthropic community has been very, very generous. To about $100 million to expand this work. We're going to hear from Matt Mateo, put your hand on that, A little later, Matt's just an amazing, amazing partner. And we've expanded to 4 neighborhoods, including Little Village, where his team works. And how much did our sound last year in Little Village?
55%.
Please give him a round of applause. It's remarkable leadership. And so we're trying to get moved individual transformation to neighborhood violence suppression and violence is on the neighborhood level. Obviously, everything affects the city. At credit, we have a couple of basic beliefs. We believe that relationships change lives. A lot of smart people here, some can find an AI solution to what we do. I would love it. I don't quite know what that is and what that looks like. We just think that people talking to other people is what helps folks change behavior. We're big believers in what I call first chances. People often say it's so nice to give people a second chance. I think in many cases, majority of cases, we're giving guys a first chance. It's sort of every institution in their lives didn't quite work for them, families, school, community, churches. And it's later in life, and I would like we're giving them the first chance. And then these guys are a testament to this. I really believe that those who have been closest to the problem, those that may have been frankly a part of the problem of cycles of violence, they're in the best position to lead us the city out of this. That those closest to that proximity is desperately important. And that absent their leadership will never get better. And because we're starting to count on their leadership, that is why I think we're getting better. We've been at this, like I said, almost 10 years now, so many of our staff at Fred are our former participants, and to see them step up and do the work is just extraordinary. So I'll stop there. I just ask each to quickly just give a little bit of personal background, and their backgrounds are not unique. They're very typical, frankly, of young men and women who serve. They are unique leaders and extraordinary leaders. But that's what they talk about. Just a little bit about, a little bit brief, but what you've been through, like.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Andrea Jokes. Born and raised on the south side of Chicago, majority of my life. The Roseland, that's where I spent most of my time. Growing up, Roseland was like pretty difficult for me because I joined the gang at the age of 8 years old. Not having a proper guidance in my household, living to looking up to the people in the street and wanting to be something that I knew I wasn't ready for. So by the time I was 12 years old, I found myself shooting my first gun, unfortunately, causing pain to someone else's family. And that broke me in a way, but at the time I still didn't understand what I was doing because I was still a kid myself. So by the time I was 15, I was shot multiple times and put in a wheelchair. I was hitting my hip, at my side, along with my face. And every day I was in the chair, I seen my mom struggle to get to my doctor's appointments, just showing me that she cared for me, trying to instill in me to do the right thing. But everything that was around was chaos, so that's what I went to. I went to the streets for that love and support during times I didn't get it at home. So at the time I turned 17, I found myself incarcerated for unlawful use of a weapon, like gang member. During that period, I thought I had it all together when I was going to come home and do the right thing. But I was released after 18 months and went back in 25 days for the same thing because I didn't have my mind in one place. After that, I go back 15 months later for a machine gun, a class X felony, which I was facing 10 years at 85%. And during that period, with 5 months left, I lost my mom to dialysis. Not being there to give her a kiss, a hug, or even to tell her goodbye hurt me in so many ways that I can't even express it for real. Because I'm still dealing with trying to overcome these things every day. So in 2020, my brother and 2 of my cousins was murdered to gun violence 6 days after the George Floyd riot in Chicago. Everything was just going crazy. And they was out and they was killed. So in 2021, I joined Chicago Fred with hopes of finding myself and wanting to do better for myself. So I joined the program, me and my best friend here with Renzo. We was tired of living the life we was living on the streets, and we wanted the way out. But we didn't have the right people around us to show us the way out. So we get into the program. That's where we met Miss Jones, Mr. Jones, along with Arnie Duncan. to help guide us to put ourselves in position to lead those who's looking up to us in our community. So shortly, we started a program called Understand We Love You. And that was for the youth that was in our community, because every day we went to the program to work on ourselves. When we got back to the neighborhood, like, they ain't getting help we get. So we pressure on like, man, we need to get these youth guys up in the building. Because those guys that's out there causing havoc on our community. So we brought them into the program. The age group was 16 to 18 years old. Some of them even 12, but we couldn't get them in the program due to the age restrictions. So shortly after we started that, and everything that's been going and being developed, I started off as a head coach on the Understand We Love You, and was given a position as a part-time case manager. Then I worked my way up and became an outreach worker. Along with that, I was given the opportunity to be a life coach, and now I serve as a lead life coach for the youth department at the East Center of Rose. So my journey has been a blessing with given the opportunity from Chicago Cred to just trusting us and understanding that we can change, but a lot of us don't have the opportunity and the people around us to show us anything. We quit for those that look at us and look down on us in our community, but they don't really understand what it is we go through on a daily basis, the trauma that we deal with. And they wonder why we quick to react in a violent way, because we don't even understand what we're dealing with ourselves. And a lot of times you're hurt, just trying to get it out, because it's so much that be bottled up in us. But we take these times to be up here to give our testimony and to speak to you guys, and to be a representation of change. And that's all we're trying to do. We're not trying to be perfect. We're not trying to be like, these things that's going to be hard, because just like last month we went to the party with our close friends who were just at the program trying to get his life together. And unfortunately, this was my hub manager's son, but somebody I grew up with since we were kids. And it hurt because he didn't deserve it. He didn't have hurt anyone, never did nothing to anyone, but he lost his life to gun violence. And he was out late night and someone came up and killed him. And that's something I feel like if we would have been quicker to work with him and help him and show him another way, we may could have changed that. It's not going to get easy. It's only going to get hard because we're trying to fight against the things that's wrong. But if we come together as one, like we say every day, to work on the problems that's going on in our community, then we can make it a better place. We're not asking for no one to just openly just take us, but trusting us, believing us. But not always just be quick to judge without knowing the true situation that people dealing with. Because everybody is different. Everybody go through different things. I just want to say I thank you guys for having us here today and allowing us to speak to y'all on behalf of Chicago Cred and the work that we're doing as far as CBI. We need some money to help reduce gun violence and transform the way. Thanks for that. Y'all gonna have to bear with me on crack, baby, y'all. But I learned to start expressing my feelings, you know, because when we come from showing feelings is a form of weakness. So we always have to hold our true feelings in. And you know, I'm just blessed to be here, you know, because all my life I was told I was gonna fail. Where we come from, you don't make it past 18, you know. So I never thought I'd be nothing. And just being here today is just, I just think, Arnie, yeah, he don't know how much he means to us. He gave us a purpose, you know. Growing up, I was the second youngest out of 5 siblings. I was the last one to get my high school diploma.
due to being in the program. You know, man, I lost so many of my friends. I lost myself being in the streets. There was no hope where we come from. I was shot multiple times at the age of 16. You know, I didn't think I was gonna be here. And just, you know, seeing where I'm at today, I know I had a purpose. You know, growing up, all I was told, I want to go amount to nothing. But just look where I am now. Since I was 13 years old, 12 years old, you know, I just seen my closest friend get right in front of me at the age of 16. And when we out in the streets, we not thinking about, we not only bringing harm our way, but towards our family way. So when they couldn't get to me, they tried to kill my family. They shot my house up. My baby sister, my father, my mother was there. That day, my family disowned me. I was no longer safe to be around my family. So when you put out in the streets, it's like you got nothing to live for. But my last time I was shot, you know, 2020, I'm a partial of their lives. My kids came to see me, and the look on their faces, I just knew I had to do something different. But what? All I knew was the streets. What could I do different? But that's when I was getting the opportunity to join Chicago Credit. And when I heard about all the things that we could do and get by being in this program, it was too good to be true. It's like we've been lying for all our life. We don't trust nobody but each other. But aren't people about us things that I never thought I'd get? I was able to go back and get my high school diploma. I was able to go and get construction certification. I made my mom so proud. Like on graduation day, like she couldn't believe it. And it just brought me so much joy how I made a change for the better. I done lost so many of my friends, literally. I done lost so many of my friends, older guys my age, even my younger guys. That's why we have to go back and save these guys to be seen and going through the stuff that we went through. And we weren't going for that. We knew it was a way out. We finally found a way out. So on this journey, can't nothing stop us right now. Because I know I have a purpose in life. Nothing's gonna stop what we on. We got a God in our corner, and we got a good city just behind us. And that's why we thankful that you guys got us here today, because we love to do this. We love to come and share our testimony, because it's an honor to be here. Like I didn't think I'd be doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's just a blessing. It's just a blessing to be here. Man, I could go on for a long time. I know we on the time limit, but I just thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for bringing us up. Anything that we can do and come together on, we should do. We should start moving as a city, as a community, and we need to promote putting these guns down and picking each other up, because that's our motto. And
So if any, oh, go ahead. I'm so sorry.
On the book, as you can tell, ask anything. It's nothing off limits. And I just want to say how proud I am of these guys. And they're extraordinary. There are lots and lots of other extraordinary people across the city, south and side, who just need a chance. And it's interesting when Ventrell says, don't judge us. Actually, they're heroes. Like I do check they're little heroes for leaving a city to a safe place. And I don't get emotional, but obviously I really trusted in my life, like in situations that aren't always the safest. And I trusted in my life. I want you to know. Well, but
If anybody has any questions, if you could step up to the microphone.
Thank you. I'm Murado. It's our honor that you're here sharing your wisdom and your experience, and it's really moving to listen. I was inspired with your opening remarks about going to scale, and it sounds like it's a person by person momentum movement. And so I'm wondering, as we listen, what are the roadblocks that you're facing that we might be with you in tearing down? And what are the accelerants that we could be helping to move it on even faster?
I put Matt on the spot later because we can help him lead that. But it's interesting. People often ask, "Do you have enough talent?" Like, it's a human resource issue, and that for me, I would say that's the easy part. We're producing our own talent. Okay? Like, we're in the language production business. I actually think that is what we do. I actually think I'm really in the talent identification business. There's just extraordinary talent, and we just have to put them in a position to be successful. People need to grow with their challenges coming off the street, becoming staff. That's not like that's a linear path to build challenges. So for me, the barrier is not talent. We have to get nonprofits and neighborhoods to work together. And it's a little technical, but something called LTO, license to operate. There's no nonprofit that has the ability to work across the entire neighborhood. Our violence is set apart at local events change block by block. So in the neighborhood, we have to get 4, 5, 6 nonprofits to work together. Historically, it's not their fault. There's been a scarcity mentality. There's been dog eat dog fighting for resources. And we're trying to say, no, we will fund not his nonprofit, we'll fund Little Village. We'll fund Austin. We'll fund Humboldt Park. Folks have to work together. They have to be vulnerable. They have to share data. That's never been the culture. That's very scary. So there's natural resistance there. So that's a challenge. I would say it's a barrier. That's a challenge. It's ongoing. The biggest challenge, honestly, is just funding, resources. The business community's raised $100 million to help us scale, which is great. But what we do isn't cheap. It's about 25 to 30 grand per person per year. You're hiring a therapist, a clinician, a life coach, an outreach worker. And so it's really trying to raise the money. The private sector's been unbelievable. The city, honestly, has been mediocre. The state's been fantastic. Government's been amazing. Federal government's a disaster. I would say that public safety is a public good, and ultimately we need the public to invest in this. Not to overwhelm the numbers. We need police. I'm not anti-police. The police budget last year was about $2 billion in Chicago. For police misconduct settlements was about $300 million, and money for CBI from the city was about $19 million. So think of it: $2 billion, $300 million, $19 million. We just need to build this in. We're trying to build what we call a permanent public safety, public health infrastructure. That's what we're all a part of. That's the area of the resources.
I would say that's why the message is so important during National Public Health Week. You know, and this is primary prevention, as you said, first term. Thank you.
Right. I don't really have a question, but I came up because I want to affirm y'all young men. It's gonna take y'all to turn us, and I say that because I'm assuming I'm a little bit older than y'all. I've been a part of that coach for 25 years, and I've been doing the work for over 20 years. Keep teaching our young men to cry, because the body keeps score. That's trauma. That's trauma trying to detoxify your body, come out your body. So it's imperative that we continue to heal in that way. And unfortunately, majority of them, we got a father. That father will become our gun will. Because the father is the gun. The gun becomes the provider, protector, the investor. And unfortunately, it's intergenerational. And I was hearing y'all speak, and I was hearing the trauma. Y'all are superheroes, there, brother. Every superhero had a trauma. Make sure that y'all take care of y'all self first. Because I've been doing the work for over 20 some years. 7 of my nephews been shot. My son been shot multiple times. When I was in the street, my life was attempted on maybe 3 or 4 times. So it's important that we regulate ourselves, we take care of ourselves, we deal with ourselves, we continue to heal. So make sure y'all take care of yourselves to continue to do this work. And also now, this is something I want to ask everyone here. When are we have to approach violence from the brain. It's a disease, it's an epidemic. What hurt me every time I work with young men, I ask them, I say, hey, what part of the body pulls the trigger first? They tell me it's their finger. And excuse my language, that shit breaks my heart. They don't understand it's the brain. Until we bring neuroscience into gun violence, we can say put the violence down, but until we tell them that their brain, because their brain is on the gun right now. The gun is the disease, it's the drug of choice. So as everybody in this room, we have to take a re-educational stand on re-educating our people, on bringing awareness to this fight. So that's something that we all can do in common unity. Because it's an American problem, it's not a hill problem. America has a gun problem. So unfortunately, it becomes the poor people's problem because it's propagated, it's programmed. So we got to be honest and tell the truth on what really this thing stands for. So that's all I want to say. Thank y'all for y'all inspire me to keep doing the work.
I just want to say thank you for those powerful stories. The gentleman mentioned that he was incarcerated for about 10 years at 8%. I was just wondering if there was any programs or services that could have helped him while he was incarcerated. And the second part of that question, does Chicago Cred have any type of partnership with youth who are currently incarcerated or adults that are incarcerated?
Some of the programs that I feel it'll help us, our program will, like Chicago Credit, like prevention basically. Will stop me before I got to prison, not help me when I got to prison, if that makes sense.
And the second part, what you said? I was just wondering if Chicago Credit has any type of partnerships with individuals in custody.
I'll take that as a great question. We're actually trying to do much more to take our services into prison. So we have a partnership like in Hamilton, which is called the Ivy Home with the juveniles. So we're going to start to be in there every week with a team and trying to get those young guys coming out. And also work with IDOC to try and, again, we're not, a lot of folks are locked up who aren't necessarily at risk of gun violence. We're trying to get those specifically at risk of coming out, shooting, being shot, to come in. So we're early on in this. There's starting to be some trust and then breaking down so that their bureaucratic barriers so let's say. And so this year, all the next good progress.
We also have a relationship with the public defender team, and we get with them like every season, and we talk about how we can go inside and talk to people and tell people that, well, if people, being released soon, they can come out and come to our program so they can get on the right path. Well,
Thank you.
My name is Mayfield Sykes, better known as May Sykes. I've worked for over 25 years. I retired in 2014. I don't have a question for you all, young men, but I do want to say God bless you. Yeah. You made it. Yeah. And you're here now to tell your story. So many of the young men didn't get this opportunity. I lost my son here in Maywood in 2014. He was gunned down on 6th Avenue, shot 9 times. So I'm a victim of gun violence. But to see you guys here, to tell your story, and to have made a change in your life, you don't know how it makes me feel. I am so proud of you all. Keep telling your story, because these young men need to hear that. Yeah. Especially the ones that are still out here in the streets. Yeah. I commend you all. Thank God for you all. Keep doing what you're doing. This program today, all the young people need to be here to hear your story. They need to be here to be a part of it because they have stories too. Stories that they have not made it where you are yet. But to hear you, to see you, and to know what you're doing, I know that it can be done. I work for Deer Free, Illinois, and this is what we do. We are here to end gun violence. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. But I know that we can do it if we stick together and we be on one accord as to what we see. If we see it, talk about it. Tell it. We have these kids in our own homes that we're afraid of. You know, go to the police. Go wherever you need to do to get them help. Because the life you save may be your own. Thank you.
Anne is going to read a question or two from online.
We have a question from Angie on the webinar. Thank you for being so courageous, sharing your stories. I am curious, as you reflect on your experiences, what do you think communities or individuals could do better so kids don't feel the need to carry guns to protect themselves?
Well, I feel showing the communities and these kids that there's somebody that loves them. Because that's what we like in our community. The reason why everybody's so angry is because there ain't no love. You got everybody being hard. You got their parents being hard on them. They want to go outside. You got the streets being hard on them. When they going to school, the school being hard on them. They don't feel love. They don't feel motivated. If there's somebody showing them that somebody actually cares, people will be motivated to want to do better. But if all you see is hatred and meanness and people taking from you and people misguiding you, you don't know no better. In order for us to be able to change, we have to see better. We have to know what better looks like. So it's not about, are they just doing this because this is how they is, this is the only thing they know. You gotta understand, it's a program. It's like watching TV. If you seeing violence, you hearing violence, don't be violent. I just went to a college the first time in my life last week. I've never been to a college. You know what I'm saying? And I'm showing the youth guys, like, look, bro, I have opportunities. They didn't even think about college until they went. Now they thinking about going to play sports. They thinking about going to get an education. So all we have to come together and start doing things and showing something new. Versus all this negative stuff.
Well, I feel we also like I always say to myself, basically be the message we bring. So when I come in speaking to tell them to change their life, when you put yourself in a position to show them the steps to change their life. Because everybody like, oh, you should do this, you should do that. How am I gonna do it if I don't know? So we're not taking time out to show them something different and to position them into sports, after school programs, and programs like Chicago Period. They want to know how to self-regulate their emotions or to even deal with working on changing their attitude so they can be a better person for themselves. So it starts with us first, being the message we bring and lead by example, showing them that it's a different way.
And their last question, yes. Thank
Hi,
you.
my name is Dr. Stride. I'm from the South Side of Chicago. I run the development program through Center for Achieving Legacy. My question, as I just heard you say about not being in college or not being able to see those opportunities, what advice would you give if we can put it inside the school system as early prevention for youth that are going through these problems? We are running in the South Side of Chicago, and not only that, but other states where we're getting teen takeovers and all of the other things that are increasing the violence and trying to find programming to make sure that that doesn't happen over the summer. We're getting ready to go into a summer program. So what advice would you give for just for early prevention, whether it be teachers whether it be things that you shouldn't see inside of the schools that would put a halt or at least put some type of cap on solving the early prevention problems?
Oh, I would say bring someone that's relatable. A lot of times, come from where we come from, we only listen to what's related to us. So if you have someone that's speaking to the guys that don't come from their background, they're not going to understand what it takes to get to the next level in life. If your life been peaches and cream your whole life, how you gonna come to talk to someone who been living in the mud their whole life? It don't make sense. So having someone that's relatable that can actually show them step by step and what it truly takes to change their life, I mean a lot to them. And then they'll be able to take heed and see what they going on in their life and then self-reflect on everything that they're doing to correct themselves.
On the other hand, and I would say the same thing and put them in programs like the one that we in or we work for. And, you know, so I feel like if they get in the program, they get to see things and hear from people that's related. You know, we can take them on trips. You know, we can set something up. Some way, somehow, we need to come together as a whole. No matter the color, no matter the race, no matter the walks of life, we need to come together as a whole. Because once they see unity, everybody can listen, come together, and a lot of things will change.
Thank you so very much.